It becomes hard because you have to think about which team, because if you can't think about trading Odell without the price tag that will come with it, and that will be either a 3-year around 58 to 60 million, up to a 5-year, which 100 million,
90 to 100 million.
yes, yeah. And plenty of it guaranteed. So you have to think, where can a player that's going to be able to demand that type of contract, where could he land? And I'm racking my brain, because I really would like to be realistic. Adam Schefter, if he says it, okay, if he says it's going to rain, it's probably going to be some sprinkles. Now, it might not be thunderstorms, but have an umbrella when you go outside. I know that from working with him. His sources are real. I'm going to say the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is the reason why. They got a guy running their football operation in Tom Coughlin. Didn't he draft him? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't Tom kind of get criticized for potentially maybe not managing him the right way?
Letting him kind of just be him.
Now, they're playing Blake Bortles a reasonable contract, but with the personalities they have on that team, most of them being on defense, Odell Beckham in Jacksonville, if Jacksonville want to take a stronghold and send a message to New England, man, add OBJ to that mix. You'd be shocked at how good Blake Bortles would get. Like, based on Nick, the way he's not going to play worse than Eli Manning's been playing. You know, so that, I believe, is a realistic place based on Tom Coughlin. I'm sure he would love to be able to land an OBJ. And the Jacksonville fans, now, they would have realistic expectations for a Super Bowl for the next 5 years.
All right, so there are some teams from as far as teams that have the trade capital. The Colts, they got those extra picks from trading with the Jets. They're also 6th pick of the draft, and they have cap space. The Colts are interesting. The Packers don't have a surplus of picks. They don't have a surplus of cap space, but man, oh man, it'd be fun to watch him with Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's one that jumps out to me. 49ers, if they're trying to supercharge this thing. Now, they just gave Jimmy G all that money, but they do have the 9th pick of the draft. They have some draft capital.
And they need a wide receiver.
They need a wide receiver badly. But I'm gonna go to a team that I understand culture-wise, cap-wise, all these reasons why people are going to say it's unlikely. I just want to know what it would look like if it happened. Because there's a team that all of a sudden's got a couple first-round picks. A team that all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but is a Super Bowl contender every year. That team's the New England Patriots. And it's a team that, by the way, has at least one history of trading for a superstar wide receiver and lighting the damn world on fire when they traded for Randy Moss. Now, they didn't give up 2 firsts for Randy. They gave up, I think, a potential third for Randy. Forget whether or not you think it's likely. What would it look like? When you talk about Odell's releases, when you talk about how smart of a football player he is, and you think about the offense they run in New England, what would Odell Beckham look like for a team that right now all of a sudden needs a #1 receiver in New England?
As Jenna would say, it'd be Christmas on their face. I mean, with Josh McDaniels, I mean, the offense he designs, opposite of Gronk, like we're still keeping Gronk there too.
Yeah.
I mean, 2007 was when they had that magical season, right? It would be like 2007, but they will be able to throw the ball deep. They didn't have a great short passing attack in 2007 because Randy Moss is not the short and intermediate receiver, and he is not the route runner, and he is not the run after the catch that OBJ is. Now, Randy Moss is a first ballot Hall of Famer. But in those intermediate areas, in that release off the line of scrimmage, OBJ is a better football player, and they would maximize that. Like in those quick throwing that Tom Brady likes to do, get the ball out of his hand so guys can run with it. Now, Tom Brady is not throwing to the best athletes in the world.
No.
Now, OBJ is one of the best athletes in the world. If you marry those two up, you're talking about success. Like Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh. You would see him getting the ball 8 to 10 times a game and throwing it sideways to him, quick slants to him, and also taking advantage of him down the field.
Can you believe we are talking about trading Odell Beckham Jr.? If I told you last season, when he was taking the field, the first game before he hurt his ankle, whatever it was, you know, next year they're going to think about trading this guy. You'd think we were all crazy. It boggles my mind that this is a guy who brought all of this on himself. The Giants never wanted to trade him. He might not still be traded, but you were talking about a report from Adam Schefter. It's a shame to me. It really is. This guy fits perfectly in New York. He's got the personality for it. He's got the spirit for it. And listen to me. I know what you're going to say.
You have no idea.
All the other antics that does not factor into personality. This guy could be a tremendous force in New York City.
How can you say he's got the personality for New York when you're of the belief it's his personality that is one of the reasons he could be driven out of New York?
Absolutely not. It's not his personality that's driving him out of New York.
It's not just the video. It's not just the video.
Right. But getting on all fours in the end zone does not factor into personality. That's not your personality. Those are stupid antics you do. That goes against what your personality could be. You could have a larger than life.
It could be
super
immature.
Happy. It could be immature.
Yeah, we got a lot of those out there, though.
We do.
So that wouldn't exclude you from playing for a team or playing in a certain city.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just reject the idea that I don't think it's fair to say Odell's perfect in New York if only he would change to become perfect for New York. Odell is Odell. Maybe it's going to end up getting him out of New York. Maybe he's going to end up regretting how he's acted the last few years, or maybe he's going to go back with the Giants or go to Jacksonville or go somewhere else and continue to be one of the 2 best in the world at what he does. But I don't at some point, and I've gotten in arguments with Cece about this. I don't want to say an argument, but a discussion with our main boss, Mr. Shanks, about this.
You like to argue.
No, it's not that sometimes when you take the package, you get everything that goes with it. You get the yellow hair, you get the amazing catches, you get a couple controversies a year, and you got to decide whether or not you want it. Because let me tell you this, whoever trades for Odell Beckham Jr.
You got to decide you want the videos, and you got to decide you want the potential penalties, and you got to decide you want a potential suspension.
Well, I don't think the player exists without it. Like, I don't think you tell me.
There are players. There are wide receivers out there that exist without it.
Of course there are, but does he exist? My point is this. You think if he trades, he's changing. You think if he resigns, he's changing.
No, but I think he regrets doing all those things if he gets traded.
Okay, maybe so.
Listen, we're naive to think that people won't grow. Someone in their mid-20s, a professional athlete, like he's not going to grow. He is going to grow. He will evolve just like we have evolved.
Well, I will just say this. If Eric Shanks sat me down last year and said, please don't do X, Y, and Z, there's a good chance, if not a perfect one, I wouldn't come back and do X, Y, Z. If he's not ready to evolve now.
Not a 25-year-old superstar athlete, Jenna.
I am actually.
If Schefter's saying this is not some speculation. There is some meat to it. I know you believe that. So tell me a team.
If Adam Schefter say it's going to rain, take your umbrella. I don't care if the sun is out. I mean, his sources are tight. There is no one wired in to information stronger than Shefty. So the reality was the Rams just completed a trade yesterday for Brandon Cooks. There was discussion that the Rams were discussing with the Giants about trading for Odell Beckham. I believe that to be true. So I believe he's still on the trading blocks. I believe the Giants, in the back of their mind, there's 2 concerns. One is, who is he going to be in the future? And the next is, can we actually sign him to the type of contract that would make him happy? Now, the Giants, part of their front office believes that he will mature and be that superstar and the team leader that they need him to be. But there's also part of the front office believe, man, this kid might want $22 million. Like, we might not be able to afford him. So I believe that the trade, it's a real thing. And if it is real, the team that I look at is, man, let's finish this thing off. Tom Coughlin. He drafted the kid from LSU, made him the superstar in New York. Man, what is Jacksonville missing besides a top-flight quarterback? I believe his personality fits into Jacksonville. I trade him to the AFC, too. Wouldn't trade him in the NFC and have to beat him every year, have to face him the next 10 years. So I believe that Tom Coughlin, his presence in Jacksonville, makes it a real possibility.
I think the Jacksonville one's very fascinating. I'm going to add a couple other teams. I think San Francisco, with the money they've invested in Jimmy Garoppolo, still have a ton of cap space. They have the 9th pick in the draft. I like that. You're a believer that if you trade Odell, you got to get a wide receiver back. That brings the Los Angeles Chargers into play. They have the 17th pick, but they also have Mike Williams, who they just spent a top 10 pick on, but then Keenan Allen as well. That's a team that our friend Chris Canty mentioned I thought was interesting. From a fantasy football perspective,
I don't like Mike Williams as much as I like Keenan Allen.
Sure.
Keenan's had some injuries and everything. Mike Williams, I believe, is going to be a number 1 receiver, but Keenan Allen, he can get it done for me in the Giants.
From a fantasy football perspective, though, even though I understand the personalities don't mesh and the salaries, I get it, the Pats are what's the most interesting. They now have 2 picks in the first round, 2 more picks in the second round. They traded away Tom Brady's number 1 option. I know you think for a lot of reasons that wouldn't happen. Just indulge me on this. Tell me in 60 seconds, what would it look like? Would it be like 07 with Randy Moss? What would it look like, Brady?
It would be worse. Like, you're talking about fantasy football.
You mean worse by better?
It'd be worse because his ability to run the shorter routes better than Randy Moss. Randy Moss, the first ballot Hall of Famer. But the shorter, the releases, the intermediate routes, his ability to be able to catch the ball and make people miss, I mean, that's superior to what Moss can do. So, I mean, Josh McDaniels, it would be like Josh McDaniels stayed in New England for Odell Beckham. And Josh McDaniels and Odell Beckham will be one of the most dangerous combinations in the NFL. It would be sick. Like, it wouldn't be good for the AFC. It wouldn't be good for them.
Still think it's nuts that we're discussing trading Odell Beckham Jr. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.